Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start the install for the Whoosh shifter base bushing, hard bushing or just aluminum hard bushing replacement. We'll go ahead and start pulling the panels off. This one's going to be a little more of my least favorite kind of job because I don't like pulling plastic interior panels, but I think this is going to be the final piece in the equation to make all the shifter linkage feel real direct. So the first thing we need to do is I probably have to get strap wrenches. I got this on pretty tight. First thing we need to do is get the shifter knob off, and then we're going to go ahead and pull this panel assembly out. I believe it pops out from down under here first. Let's see, there's a joint right here, so this whole thing should pull out once we get the shifter knob off. Once you have the shift knob removed, you can start pulling this trim panel off by kind of grabbing in this pocket here where the shift boot is and kind of pull it rearward and up and start, see, there we go, start pulling this guy up. And we got to keep kind of working our way down, and it's going to tilt forward-ish as it comes. And one thing you got to remember as you're taking this out is these two switches, your ambient lighting and your traction control switches, they need to be removed, or sorry, disconnected once you get back there. So, as you're taking this out, see, there we go. Now, this whole section's free right here, you can see, and we've got to pull the panel off kind of up and around this area where these switches would be. So, I'm going to stop the video so I can be extra careful with that. Just realized I may have to cut my little wire tie here for my access port because it looks like it's just going to get in the way. Okay, we have the panel off. I'll tell you what, it never ceases to frighten me removing these kind of panels. We blew a little clip off. You can see it on the floor down here. A little white clip. I'd highly recommend. Last year I had a Mustang GT 2016, so doing some of the panel mods on that for I think the Lund tuning system. I bought a bunch of these, and I'd highly recommend having some of these around before you do any of this kind of work because there's a good chance you're going to lose them. I did the reverse camera. I lost one of them in the dashboard, and luckily I had some on deck because you really don't want to put it back in without the clips, and it sucked to have to wait. So anyway, panel's free. Right here's where I found that when popping the clips that are in between here, there's one right back here, popping that out. That's where I found it to be a little unnerving because this area is a little thin and you get some flex and you feel like you're gonna break it as you're popping it out. So just take your time, kind of work your fingers up in here, try to figure out where the clips are and pull on them. So we're gonna go ahead. See, there's the electrical connectors back here. Go ahead and disconnect those and get this out of the way. Real quick for reference, you can see where all the tabs are. Looks like I'm missing two of them still in the dashboard. I gotta go try to remove them. There's one up here, one over here that didn't come out. You can see down here, here's these pins that you need when you're you have to pull it back to get it out. You can see these little pins here kind of driving that, 'cause if you pull straight up, you're probably gonna break them off. So, okay, here's all the clip locations. The push tab for the connectors is on the bottom right here. You're getting out. Okay, now that we've got that panel out, next is to remove the shifter cover. Just gonna pull it in the back, pop it up, shifter cover's off. See, now we've got a whole shifter assembly in here. Leave our bushings. One's right here, one's right there under that bolt. So we're gonna have to pop these guys up, but to get to the bottom of them, we're first gonna have to pop these side panel covers off. To remove the side panel, we need to get this little Phillips trim screw out. We have to get a trim tool under there. We'll see how friendly it's gonna be. I like getting the screw all the way out of these. Probably could actually just pop it, yeah. Just pull it out like that. And supposedly this guy just comes right out. We shall see. I have to do this off video because I don't want to break anything. So your clips are up in here, up on this end. So get your hand up under there and pop them out. See if we can do it on video. There we go. It's just hung up on the carpet in the end, so you just got to pull that out and get the remaining clip down and here out, and that's the whole deal. Remember to check that all your clips, it's not over there, so they're all up in the front section, are still all in there, and they are. And then the next portion, we're going to go ahead and remove these electrical connections. Kind of hard with one hand, like everything else. Just going to move these guys, and I believe there's two on the other side, so we're going to follow the same process for the other side and get the driver's side panel off. So for the driver's side, we remove this screw clip as well. Not quite sure where it just went. Oh, there it is. And then we pop the panel out in the same way where all the clips live in this front section. So we get our hand up under here. And whoa, pop it off. There we go. And we have two electrical connections here. Looks like the push tab on top of this one that we need to remove. Have to figure out where the tab is on that one. I think it's on the back. So I'm going to try to remove these bushings in here, these base bushings, without taking the whole center console out. I don't think it's that difficult to take the center console out. You got to remove these two bolts, and there's a couple in the back, but I don't think it's necessary. I think other people have shown that in some write-ups that you can get. Looks like you can get to them from under here. There's tons of room right there to get in there. Well, we'll see if there's tons of room. So what I'm going to do next then is I'm going to pop off the shifter linkage, because we need to get this link off and this one off, pretty much just to get access, because they run directly over those bolts. So I'm going to try to use some plastic tools, see if I can get lucky in here, and then if not, I'll get my screwdrivers out. Okay, so I decided to take the center console out. These are 7mm bolts in here on the rear. There's one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side. You gotta take these guys out, and then we'll get to it in a sec. You gotta take the two bolts out in the front, which are 8mm, funny enough. I'm not sure why Ford decided to use two different sizes. I guess they felt they didn't want to put a larger bolt in the back or something, but it's kind of a pain. So we've got the passenger out. I'm gonna go ahead and get the driver's side out. Then we are going to remove the ones in the front. Okay, with the two rear 7mm out, I'm gonna go ahead and remove these two front 8mm bolts. As you can see, it doesn't take much to get them going. Also, while I'm at it, I would recommend taking anything you have out of your cup holders, because you have a hard time finding it. It's going to go flying everywhere once you take this out. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get the other bolt out. I'll show you how to pull the center console. Okay, so now we have all the bolts out. We're going to work to pull this center console assembly backward. Seems like it's pegged in the front. So push that in the back. Okay, there we go. I pick it up from the back first. Yeah, perfect. So you can go back behind the armrest, get up under that drink tray in the back, and just pick it up, and then it comes right out. So we're gonna pull this guy out. Definitely gonna need two hands for that process, and carefully guide it out the car, and then we'll have a lot more room to get at this shifter base. Now that we have our center console out, so again, you pick it up from the back a little bit, then you guys slide it rearward to clear the pins out of this section, and then it's kind of a tilt back and forth to get it up over. I mean, I think it's easier with the e-brake out, but you gotta clear the emergency brake handle and the seat belt latches, but you just kind of tilt it back and forth just so you don't jam it into the dashboard, but that's easy to get out. And so now we have tons of access. I may even see if I have a shallow enough bit to not even remove the linkage. I doubt it. I think I'm about to remove the linkage, but yeah, you've got a lot of access now to get this linkage off. So we're gonna go ahead and pop those off. So if you happen to have a T30 driver, I'm actually able to get these guys. We'll see what happens when I run to the end of it, if I can get it all the way out. But I'm actually able to get them out. I think with the T30 hand driver. Now, what I'm concerned about is when it comes down to This guy's pretty tight. Yeah, we can get him though. Without taking the linkage off. When it comes down to getting the bolts and screws back in when we have the new bushings in, that may be more of a challenge because this guy was able to use a little bit of the give from the bushing to get it out. So we'll see. We still may have to pop the linkage off, but I'd rather not. Because this is all plastic. I'm trying to use plastic tools, but they flex too much, and I'm really not looking forward to the idea of using screwdrivers to get it off. I mean, I know people do it and they replace these assemblies, but rather not if I don't have to. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so you need to remove, and of course there's grease everywhere, which makes this fun. You need to remove the shifter cables from the bracket or the base. So that's pulling this collar out, popping them up. I was able to do it quite easily with the linkage still in place, and then you push the whole assembly forward, and it comes off these little let's see if we can get them, these little tabs down here. So now we got it up. We can't remove it obviously because the linkage is still attached, but I don't think I need to. I'm gonna try to replace these, get a screwdriver, pop these metal inserts out, and then go ahead and get the grommets out. Try to do that in the car without having to remove the linkage. We'll see. So take your screwdriver, get up under the lip of this guy, and just carefully pry it out. It's just in the rubber. There's no metal to bend or anything. It just takes a little bit of leverage to get it out. This grommet is pretty stiff, so I think it's going to have to come out with like a small screwdriver or something. We'll see how that goes. You're going to do it for both sides. And then once we get those grommets out, I think we're just going to take the screwdriver. I don't want to tear this plastic up, so we'll see. My hand's right in the way. We'll see what we can do to get under here and kind of push it in, but I need a chance for that job. So what I found to get these grommets out easily is you take your screwdriver. It's hard to get a good view of this, but you basically take it. See if I can get the camera there a little better. But you push it on the edge and then drive it inward, kind of like this. Try not to dig into the plastic. You can keep it on the ground the entire time, push it on the edge, kind of drive it inward from the edge, and then push it through the hole in the bottom. Very similar to how we did the cable bracket on the inside of the engine, the shift cable bracket on top of the transmission. These guys have, oops, there it is, one with a larger outer diameter, one with a smaller inner. So the larger one is going to go under this guy to fill in the hole completely. And then we're going to go ahead, hold these in place while we're putting it back onto the plastic base. Okay, so there you go. That's the bottom portion of them in. And you can see we're back re-engaged. The bottom side. You really don't need to take these guys off. When you kick the shifter linkage out of the way, which you have to do anyway to get to the screws, this isn't a problem at all. So here's the top portion of them. This is the smaller diameter, inner diameter, or not inner, but I guess I want to say inner because I'm thinking of the smaller diameter inside part. So you get these guys on there. We're going to run the hardware back in, screws back in, and reclip these. Okay, so once you have these bolts, screws all tightened down, remember these are threaded into plastic, so don't get too crazy with them. My kind of rule of thumb is if you take in a 1/4 inch drive, I get kind of single finger till it's pretty tight. We're in the middle of it, and that's the tightest I'll go, or just hand tighten with your screwdriver. We're pretty close to equivalent, but everybody's different. Everybody has different hand strengths, so I highly recommend taking the center console out. I think this is a much easier job. I mean, I didn't even have to take the linkage off, which I'd rather take the center console out than the linkage because I don't want to shove a screwdriver into this plastic. Be careful when you're taking the grommets out. It's pretty soft plastic, so just try not to gouge it with a screwdriver. Like I mentioned, keep that tip of the screwdriver on the rubber grommet and push it in. You should be fine. You shouldn't do any damage when you're doing that. So yeah, it's nice, and I didn't think it would make much of a difference, but actually, because those grommets the ones that are in there are pretty rigid, but that thing's real nice and stiff now. So I feel like that made a noticeable improvement already. So we're gonna go ahead and reassemble in the reverse order, put everything back together, and we're all set. Make sure you hook all your electrical connections back in, and don't forget to replace any clips that you lost. I was hoping I'd find some of them, some of the ones that came out of here down in the carpet, but I'd rather not tear the whole car apart to find them. So they weren't obviously there. So luckily I had spares. Like I said, I'd look them up. I'll try to find the part number for the clips and put them in the description just so you can order some. They're great to have on hand. Hope this helps some folks out. Quick couple of wrap-up items I wanted to mention. You can see this tab up here for the driver's side panel. There's a little slot. It's hard to see with this light, but there's a little slot up in here you have to run this tab into. And also when you're putting it in, make sure you get it in past the seat rail first. Or you have to bend the panel to get it in around. When you're putting the center console back down, you're going to need to kind of shift it back a little. Drive the pins in the front and then put this side down. Kind of the reversed operation of how we took it out. We took it out, we lifted it up, then we pulled it backwards. This you need to kind of tilt it, run the two dowelish pins in the front, and then push this guy down. You can kind of shift it back and forth. You can feel it's in the tracks. Those are just a couple closeout items that I wanted to mention.